I'm resetting the worms, and I thought I'd take you along on that journey. But before I can start, I've got to clean this up so I have somewhere to work. Right, so here we have my worm bin, and we're essentially just going to move this today to that table so that we have somewhere to work and I can actually show you what I'm getting up to. In this area over here, I have my worm bin and some of the seeds that failed. I'm not too worried about them. There are things that we can replant, things like the calendulas and the alyssum, and none of our peas came up either. But again, we've been having really rainy weather. That being said, that's the reason I'm not actually using this table to work on today. It's because the seedlings are here, and as you can see, the rain absolutely destroyed some of these cells. We even have seeds growing in the paving now, so yeah, we'll see how that works out. But for now, I'm just letting them rest here, and once they have settled, I will come around and move them and split them if I need to. Like here, we've got a cell that has multiples. I'll come around and fill the blank spots with those, and then we'll let them grow a bit more, I guess. But this is an adventure of its own. Today, we're doing the worm box. I would like to harvest some of the compost that is in this bucket, and by some I mean the majority of. I will leave some for the bedding of the actual worms itself so that they're not starting completely from fresh, but the intention is actually to remove as much compost out of this tower today as possible and reset it so that I don't have to fuss over it the entire winter. I can just keep adding scraps to it as I go, and we will see what the worms can create for us going into our spring, possibly. Also depending on the pace that they work at and how many of them actually breed in here. So let's see what we're doing today. In front of me I have got the worm tower and these two trays. So I would like to migrate the worms out here essentially. I would like to tip out my bucket onto this plastic tray, then use this other plastic tray as a lid. Leave it out here in the sun, allow the sun to heat that soil. That will go down towards the bottom of the tray, and then when I come through later, I can just gently sift through and remove the excess worms and put my soil on the other pan. But first we have to address the actual worm tower itself. So I'm going to break this down into little sections just to explain what I've got here. So this is my worm tower. I have a 3 bucket system. I have got a top layer which I generally feed my scraps into, and the worms break down into compost. I have a second bucket which is generally our worm bedding area. And lastly, our catchment bucket. Now, because of all the rain we've been getting, we've had a few casualties with our worms, but I'm not wasting this liquid. We are going to use this in the garden. So I'm just going to add this to our bucket. We are going to use this to make compost tea. for the garden. I do have an older video on that I can put up in the corner for you just to check out if you are interested in watching our worm journey and how we turn our compost into fertilizer for our garden. The first bucket I'm going to tip out is the bedding bucket. Let's see if there are any worms in there. Okay, so there really are worms in here. There's lots of little ones in and amongst this bedding, which is fun. Oh wow, magic. So now we're just going to heap this up here as much as we can, as you can see. These beans that were in here have actually sprouted. Alright, so this will be our new worm bedding bucket and compost bucket, and then we'll go back into feeding the system. Right, over here in the other bucket we had our composting system, and as you can see there are actually worms in here, loads of them. So I'm just going to break up this compost soil again on the top. What I'm going to attempt to do is to just pull this soil up into a tower, and then I'm going to hopefully encourage these worms to dig deeper. I'll come along, remove the top layer, put it aside, let them dissipate again, come along, remove it again, and we'll see how effective this is. Right, so for the 3 bucket system, I've got 3 5-litre buckets, 2 of them with holes drilled in the bottom. This middle layer here generally has a piece of cardboard or paper that goes in here, just to stop the worms from filtering through into the runoff water storage. But ours has actually broken down quite significantly. So obviously it wasn't doing the job the way it would normally do. So today I'm just going to quickly replace that bottom layer and create a bit of a lid with a secondary circle. So I have an old shopping bag here. It is a paper bag. I'm just going to take my pen, draw a rough circle around it. And then I'm going to cut that out. Right, so in order to restack my buckets, I've got my base layer. Then I'm going to put in the middle layer. I'm going to add in a piece of paper. So now that we've done the bucket and its piece of paper, we're actually going to start adding our worms back into this middle layer. This will essentially be their home. It will be where they retreat to. Okay, so as you can see, there are parts of this that are loaded with worms. Now my main goal is to have more worms, so I'll just harvest the soil around it, and if I find clusters of worms like that, I will add them straight back into the bucket. So now we're going to take our middle bucket. It's got all the compost and bedding in it that the worms will need. And we're going to take our top layer, where I've also put a very thin layer of bedding in. And we're going to put that down on top so that they are touching, that they're firm but not necessarily crushing each other. Just so that the worms have easy movement from the bottom layer to the top. And from here on out, we will just be adding our food scraps onto the top here and allowing the worms to eat through that. So we're going to take that second circle that I cut and add it just to the top. Every time I come and feed them, I'll remove this, put in our compost, and then reinsert the piece of paper. So I'm going to take 2 of these, add this to our bucket. Just like that. And I'm going to take our bucket to the air pump so that I can add the remainder of the ingredients and we can get this bubbling. Hey guys, so I just wanted to say thanks for hanging out with me again today in the garden as I made some worm tea, and hopefully we get to use that to fertilize our garden, putting back the things that we've drawn out to grow the veggies that we've grown. Thanks guys for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like this video, share, and consider subscribing. See you in the next one. Bye guys.